Hello Onions, today we're going to talk about file sharing, mashups, and the end of the world as we know it.
Honest to vlog.
Copyright law was first created in order to encourage creativity. Basically, the idea was that the author would have control over what happened to it, but only for 7 years. After that, anyone could use it. It would be in the public domain. A good example of something that's in the public domain is Shakespeare. Now, this is Walt Disney, and he's possibly one of the greatest mashup artists to have ever lived. See, he took old things, some of which were in the public domain, some of which weren't, and he made them new. A good example of this is Steamboat Willy. Steamboat Willy was one of the first Mickey Mouse cartoons, and it was a note-for-note rip-off of Steamboat Bill. After Walt died, copyright law changed. Now this was done as a gift to Disney, so no one could do to Disney what Disney had done to the world. The law was now 70 years after the death of the author. Now, what this does is stilt innovation, and this is the exact thing that copyright laws were designed not to do. One of my favourite examples for copyright law being not just bad, but downright destructive, is there are drugs that help people with AIDS, and those drugs, like pretty much everything, is patented. Now, the drug companies were trying to sell these drugs to Brazil at grossly inflated prices, and Brazil broke international copyright laws and produced the drug cheaply for everyone.
The drug industry saw this as an act of war. Brazil saw it as an act of life.
Copyright law isn't just about entertainment, it's about culture, it's about life and death sometimes. Two of the most innovative platforms right now are stand-up and fashion designing. This is because two things you're not allowed to copyright are jokes and looks. This forces comics and designers to constantly be looking for a new thing. In other words, it drives innovation. Open culture is no longer this tiny thing that works in tiny environments. The largest encyclopedia in the world, Wikipedia, or the third largest operating system in the world, Linux, both are open source. The way I learned how to edit, the reason that I'm here today, is because I made mashup videos.
SXEPhil. You're not sexy, though. Man made a boat for the water, like Noah made the ark. This is a man's world.
I compiled footage from TV shows that I like, I remixed them and turned them into something new. The end result wasn't anything earth-shattering, but I learned how to edit. Now, there is a thing in copyright law called fair use, and the problem is the world is very used to having a world that is literate. What we're not used to is having a world that's media literate. If you want to quote your favourite novel in an essay, go ahead. No one's going to stop you, that is your right, that is what you're meant to do. However, if I was to quote Donnie Darko by, say, having a clip from Donnie Darko play right now...
Smurfs are asexual, they don't even have reproductive organs under those little white pants. This was so illogical, you know, about being a Smurf. You know, what's the point of living if you don't have a dick?
That's a potential copyright violation. Why? What's the difference? Now, fortunately, through all this doom and gloom, there is hope. As content creators, we can choose to accept something called Creative Commons. Creative Commons basically allows me as a video maker to put a license on my video that says, go ahead, remix, create new things, create derivative works. As long as you attribute that you used a bit of my content, I don't mind. The future I'd like to see is where people are encouraged to interact, to take content, to use it, to cut it up. By remixing the culture we have spoon-fed to us, we cease to be passive consumers and start to be creators.
We live in this weird time, this kind of age of prohibitions, where in many areas of our life, we live life constantly against the law. Ordinary people live life against the law, and that's what we are doing to our kids. They live life knowing they live it against the law. That realization is extraordinarily corrosive, extraordinarily corrupting. And in a democracy, we ought to be able to do better at least for them, if not for opening for business.
Now, I find it really difficult to explain big things in small videos. I have no idea how the Vlogbrothers do it. So if there's something that you don't really understand or that I didn't really explain very well, please ask me in the comments and I'll do my best to try and distill it down. Peace out, I look forward to you disagreeing with me on Monday.